to silence him. They erased his name. But he rebuilt from nothing. He fought every algorithm. They tried again and failed. Now he's back, stronger. From blackout to spotlight, he's at the White House, at the top of his game. Franchi lives.
You are about to enter another dimension, the dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your Rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your Rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members-only community, behind-the-scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
My mama always said, life is like sharing the truth. Text this stream to your friends.
What if I told you the app is real? Download the Next News Network app. Android users, take the Google Play path. iPhone users, App Store awaits.
Tonight, American naval power just got a historic upgrade. The walls are closing in on corrupt elites from Minnesota to Venezuela. The Epstein panic is exploding. A global superstar just shattered the establishment spell, and Americans are finally getting a Christmas miracle they can feel at the pump. I'm Gary Franchi, and this is the Raw Feed. Just hours ago, President Trump stood at Mar-a-Lago flanked by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Navy Secretary John Phelan, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio to announce a major expansion of American naval power. New warships, a revitalized fleet known as the Golden Fleet. American shipbuilding coming back stronger than it's been in generations. The message to the world was unmistakable. The United States is done projecting weakness. And the timing couldn't be more deliberate because right now, off the coast of Venezuela, that power is already being deployed. The U.S. Coast Guard is actively pursuing a sanctioned oil tanker called Bella 1, the third vessel targeted in just 12 days under President Trump's complete blockade. Russia declared full support for Maduro today. The tanker refused a boarding order. Our forces closed in, and now the world knows this is just the beginning. Now, let me take you back 36 years ago on this very day, December 22nd, 1989, Bucharest, Romania. For decades, Nicolae Ceausescu ruled with an iron fist. He controlled the press, he silenced dissent, he surrounded himself with loyalists who told him the people loved him. The elites protected each other. The media ran cover. Anyone who spoke out was destroyed. Then the cracks started showing. Small protests grew into massive demonstrations. The whispers became roars. The day before, his own crowd had turned on him in a public speech. And on this day in 1989, the unthinkable happened. He and his wife fled the capital in a helicopter as Romanian revolution swept through the streets. The regime collapsed in hours, not because foreign powers intervened, but because ordinary people stopped being afraid and realized they outnumbered the tyrants. So why does this matter tonight? Well, because you're watching the same pattern unfold in America. In Minnesota, the fraud dam has finally burst. Viral videos showing Americans chanting to deport Ilhan Omar. Federal investigators are circling Governor Tim Walz. Elon Musk just told his 230 million followers that Walz is hiding vast fraud, billions stolen. 6 federal investigations underway. The establishment thought they could contain it forever. Well, they were wrong. And just in time for Christmas, the Trump effect is delivering genuine relief to families across the nation. Gas prices has plunged to a 4-year December low. 40 states are now under $3 a gallon. Wages are rising faster than inflation for the first time in years, and families are packing the car for holiday travel without dread. This is not a talking point. It's showing up in wallets across America. Then came the cultural bombshell that nobody predicted. Nicki Minaj, the global icon, queen of rap, walked straight into America Fest, praised President Trump, defended persecuted Christians, and told young conservatives she sees hope in their generation. When asked about industry backlash, her response was ice cold. She didn't even notice. The gatekeepers lost control of another voice today. In the Epstein files, full panic. Democrats are screaming cover up while fake photos get exposed and deleted. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche called the sudden outrage laughable and pointed out that these same people ignored the files for years and now they suddenly care. That's not concern for justice. That's an extraction attempt. December 22nd, 1989 proved that no amount of media control or regime protection can stop the truth once ordinary people decide they've had enough. And tonight, you're watching that same moment arrive in America. From Minnesota courthouses to Caribbean waters to Mar-a-Lago, where American strength was just put on full display for the world to see. The corrupt believed they were untouchable. Well, they discovered otherwise. So let's get into it. The raw feed starts now, and let's welcome you to the show. We got a super chat right off the gate. I need to acknowledge Curio2369. Really? Is this how we're starting the show? Man. He who farts in church sits in his own pew. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. We appreciate you. Oh, boy. Yeah, I can tell you what kind of night we're going to have. I hope you had a great weekend, by the way. We got Dave Wallenberg. We got Lori Godfrey and Deborah Gomez and Karen Hansen. We got Greg Anderson, Halo 2 Amendment, Michael Cheney, Garth Vandenbosch. Bosch. We got, let's see, Lori, Karen. Who else is in the house here? Quite a few people. So make sure you sound off in the comments and the chat so we know where you're watching from. You don't got to give your location, what kind of device you're on, so we know what kind of device. It always helps us. And how did you hear about the show? That's a new one. How did you find out about the Next News Network? How did you find out about the raw feed? I would love to know. And I'm going to go back through these chat comments later, and I'm going to review them. And I really want to know. personally, how you guys found out about the show. How long have you been watching? How long have you been a viewer? I got an email the other day from someone who said that they have been watching forever and they love the show. So it's always encouraging when we hear messages from longtime viewers, as well as, people who just found the show, whether it was through a friend or a family member. These things show us how interconnected that we really are. So take a minute, try to reflect on that moment when you first were shared a Next News Network link, or you saw a report that someone showed you on their phone and then you decided to follow. Or if you've even bumped into me in public. Those are always delightful moments. I love hearing about those stories, especially when I read them. But when they happen, it's really a beautiful thing. I got some wild stories I could tell you too. But it's always fun. It certainly is. Okay, so let's get into the show, Brian. We got a lot to talk about tonight. And the news waits for no man, as they say. Right now, video. I think we gotta take two, Brian. Can we do take two? All right, thank you. Right now, videos are going viral across the country showing Americans chanting something that would have been unthinkable just months ago. A sitting congresswoman, a governor scrambling to explain billions in missing money, federal investigators closing in from 6 different directions, and one of the most powerful men on the planet just told 230 million people what the mainstream media refuses to say. The fraud scandal in Minnesota isn't just growing, it's detonating, and the names at the center of it are about to face something they never expected. It's called accountability. And here's what's really at stake, though. This isn't just about one state or one politician. This is about a system that allowed billions of taxpayer dollars to be looted through Medicaid and benefit programs while officials look the other way, or worse, actively shut down oversight. Vice President Vance said it plainly. Money meant for America's poor was stolen by fraudsters, and Tim Walz let it happen. 6 federal investigations now underway in Minnesota. Walz appointed a fraud czar only after closing the office that was investigating the fraud. That's not incompetence, that's called containment. And it's not just Minnesota. Reports show the same staggering patterns emerging in Colorado, where housing benefits went to hundreds of dead people. In California, insiders there, they say the fraud makes Minnesota look like small change. So if the system isn't exposed and dismantled, it will keep draining the country dry. Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing that we've all learned, it's that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. And for over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Now, look, nobody knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing is for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table on Christmas or New Year's and you're surrounded by family, remember the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that is what Noble Gold delivers, peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Now, remember, before the year ends, take one smart step towards a safer future and visit nextnewsgold.com. Get your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance. And if you want one of these beautiful 10 1-ounce silver coins, holiday coins with qualified accounts, you'll get them if you call 877-646-5347. Now, here's where it gets worse. President Trump himself called out the scandal, saying Somalis stole $9 billion, and that is only the beginning. He went further, saying Ilhan Omar should be sent out of the country and should never be allowed to serve in Congress. He repeated the long-standing accusation that she married her own brother. Now polling shows 57% of Minnesota voters disapprove of Walz, and 56% say they'll vote Republican. The pressure is not easing, it's only accelerating. And the same fraud pipeline may stretch all the way to California, where Gavin Newsom is accused of running a federal money laundering scheme through inflated ambulance costs. Now, here we have this from, this is Representative Randy Fine, says he is actively working to get Ilhan Omar deported. You won't believe this. Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar is actually defending the legislation she introduced that allowed billions of dollars in fraud to take place in Minnesota. She went on Fox, I guess, or maybe they're playing a clip of her. Let's listen.
On Fox Digital is this because I'm sure we will find even more connections. This is what Ilhan Omar said, defending the program that she introduced in the House that led to all of these billions being stolen.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's a quote. She's telling Fox Digital. So this is the 2020 Meals Act. Ilhan Omar drops legislation intended to feed poor children during COVID because they might not have access, and it opened up a 100% USDA waiver that was exploited grotesquely. Fox News asked her, do you regret pushing for that bill, the Meals Act? Do you think it led to the fraud? Ilhan Omar, absolutely not. It did help feed kids. Okay,
yeah, well, think about this. If it did help feed kids at the cost of, what, $9 billion? Spread that across all of the ghost people and the actual benefits recipients. Think about how expensive that program was. I would almost allege that she purposely introduced that bill because she already had all of her people from Somalia lined up, ready to execute on it. Guess what, guys? I'll write the bill. You guys set up the infrastructure, and then you guys can cash in. I mean, that's what my gut says. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. That's just what I'm feeling. What do you guys think? Yeah. And then we have this. The fraud is worse in Gavin Newsom's California than Tim Walz's Minnesota. The U.S. attorney is promising more investigations after billions just went unaccounted for in one county alone. How what? Billions in one county? 2.3 billion. Unaccounted for. Listen to this. This is from News Nation.
But U.S. Attorney Bill $2.3 billion sent to L.A. County over 4 years is completely unaccounted for.
Oh, my God.
That's $2.3 billion that could have been used to clean up this, or find housing for people who live like this, or to fix this part of Venice Beach, where people own million-dollar homes but are too afraid to walk their dogs because of this. There have already been 2 indictments linked to his probe, but U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley says there are a lot more to come. I spoke with him earlier. Bill, how long has this kind of fraud been going on? I mean, the homeless issue in Southern California is a massive issue. Taxpayers have forked over tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to fix it, and people are stealing it?
It's unbelievable, and it's probably been going on for a very long time, but unfortunately no one's really looked at it until recently. Before this position, I was in the state legislature, and we would ask a lot of questions about the billions of dollars being spent every year to solve homelessness, and we can all see with our eyes and ears that it wasn't being solved, and the money wasn't going to the people who needed it most. So one of the first things I did after being appointed as the U.S. Attorney here in L.A. was to create the Homeless Fraud and Corruption Task Force, and frankly, we were starting from the bottom up, and we began brand new investigations with the IRS and the FBI, and it's already culminated in 2 separate indictments, and I can assure you that more will come.
In the 2 indictments.
Think about this. Think about this, guys. All that money, all those billions, completely vanished. And it's been happening for years and years and years and years. And no one ever looked. And now we're finally taking a look. This is California. We've been covering what's been going on in Minnesota. This is, my friends, only the tip of the iceberg. And then we have apparently this. Jesse Kelly writes that we can argue all day about this heritage American stuff, but the reality is you have to deport this girl and every member of her family if you want your country back. It's time to start sending a message to the guests. A Somali girl in Minnesota, we should not be illegal. This is stolen land. What?
Because we should support everyone, and because people deserve to be here, because we shouldn't be illegal when this is literally stolen land.
Yeah, clearly the product of the public school system, or some radically liberal parents. Here we have Deport Ilhan. Real Americans speaking out, demanding we deport Ilhan Omar to clean up the mess. Check this out.
Should Ilhan Omar be deported?
Yes. 100%. I say yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Should Ilhan Omar be deported?
1,000%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah, and her brother, because we don't separate families or marriages.
Should Ilhan Omar be deported?
What do you think? Should Ilhan Omar be deported? Comment below. Let's keep going. We got some more news to crack here. Deport Ilhan Omar. Mila Joy writes, do not let this fade. Keep the pressure on. This is the marriage license, as we've seen this floating around for years. Of course, the White House even posting it. Salty goat. This is all you need to know. Harvard research reveals generations of inbreeding enables Somalis to outsmart Governor Walz. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Oh, that's definitely a Babylon Bee headline. And then we have this. Polls in Minnesota, 57% disapprove of Walz for re-election. How many approve of him for prison? That's what we really want to know.
Approval rating is an exclusive Alpha News RMG research poll finds 57% disapprove of Walz as fraud concerns mount. When asked about next year's gubernatorial election, 40% of those polled said they would vote for Governor Walz, and 46% said they would vote for a Republican opponent. The poll found that Walz's approval rating is underwater by 15 points. An exclusive
15
Alpha
points.
News.
That's a big hill to climb there, Timmy. Good luck with that. Rather see you in prison, though. Let's check in with the vice president at the Turning Point USA event over the weekend.
This great movement, and this is the moral truth we strive to center in our work in the Trump administration and in this great movement of ours. A true Christian politics, it cannot just be about the protection of the unborn or the promotion of the family, as important as those things absolutely are. It must be at the heart of our full understanding of government. Why do we penalize corporations that ship American jobs overseas? Because we believe in the inherent dignity of human work and every person who works a good job in this country. Why have we worked, without the help of Congress, to restrict H-1B visas, for example? Because we believe it is wrong for companies to bypass American labor just to go for cheaper options in the third world. We help older Americans in retirement, including by ending taxes on Social Security, because we believe in honoring your father and mother rather than shipping all of their money off to Ukraine. We believe in taking care of the poor, which is why we have Medicaid, so that the least among us can afford their prescriptions or to take their kids to see a doctor. And it's why we are outraged at the injustice of Tim Walz allowing Somalian immigrants to defraud that program to the tune of billions of dollars. It ought to go to Americans, because that's who it's there for.
Amen. Amen. Let's go.
This is the moral.
Let's go. J.D. Vance on fire, hitting all the notes. 23 hours ago, Somalis have looted Minnesota. Walz appointing a fraud czar after closing a state office that was investigating it. Walz doesn't want the feds looking to snap voter rolls or CDLs for illegals. Tim Walz will not survive this, he writes. Let's check in with the Fox hit on that.
Office that investigated. You know, it's interesting. He's made quite a few maneuvers that are questionable, I would say, over these last years. Now appointing, I should say, a fraud czar, but he closed at the statewide level an office that investigated fraud for many years. There are questions about that. This has only renewed the call for Governor Tim Walz to resign. He is currently running for a third term as governor, but this has really ramped up under his watch the last 7 years, all of this fraud exploding onto the national scene. I think it's 5 or 6 federal investigations that have now been announced in Minnesota from SNAP, our welfare fraud. The state doesn't want to give that over. Our voter rolls, Minnesota doesn't want to hand that over to the feds. Illegal immigrants having commercial driver's licenses here. In fact, President Trump saying that Walls has turned Minnesota into a fraudulent hub of money laundering activity. Those are the president's.
Wow. Let's check in. Let's find when the president, he did make some remarks over the weekend. Let's find those remarks. I know he said it. Here it is. Check this out.
How about the new thing in Minnesota with the Somalians? They sold, now it came out, the great U.S. attorney up there, they came out, think of this, $9 billion. And they think that's just the beginning. They stole. Think of it. In their country, they live on nothing. They have nothing. They come here and they steal $9 billion. Are we stupid? I mean, how do we allow that to happen? Ilhan Omar should be sent out of our country. She should not be allowed to be a congresswoman. She married her brother either to stay or to get him into the country. And yesterday she, I guess, made up a story. She said the police attacked her son. They stopped the car and the police said, we never attacked him, we never stopped him. It was a made-up story. She's a con person. She's full of con. She says, zero. She said, you ought to get her the hell out of our country. That's what you ought to do. She made up a story that the police stopped her son's car and they harassed the hell out of him. It turned out to be a fake story. There was no stoppage of his car and there was no harassment. But think of that, in Minnesota, this beautiful place, once beautiful, I don't call it beautiful, you got a governor who's a stupid person and a corrupt. He's corrupt and stupid. But he allowed this to go on. He allowed this to go on. Everybody knew what was going on. But what nobody knew is over $9 billion. And the people of Minnesota are not happy. How about the new thing in Minnesota with the Somalians? They sold, now it came out.
How about that new thing, huh? Oh, President Trump, man. You got to love it. Just bringing the rally flavor back. Tim Walz had Melissa Hortman, someone says, for voting against his corruption. Oh, boy. This is Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon, officially suing Tim Walz, Minneapolis, Minnesota Public Schools for anti-white discrimination. Man, it just keeps piling up in Minnesota. 48 hours ago, a manic Tim Walz declares he will fix the fraud that he has presided over.
You have my look, who's ever in charge, and I said, unlike the president, I'm the governor now. Whether these programs happened before we got here or afterwards, it doesn't matter. We're here now. We're the ones fixing it. You have my guarantee on this is that I certainly will have this thing fixed, and you see that we're on the front end of it. That's how this works. And so would I have wanted to stop this? Would I have gone out? You know, if you think the governor goes out and checks somebody on Medicaid and that they were there, no, but that's somebody in government needed to do that. And if they didn't do that, or if there were loopholes in this, and what we found is these are poorly written and it left openings, and the goal was to get the money out.
Poorly written by who? Poorly written by who, Tim? Oh, that's right. Ilhan Omar wrote the bill. Oh, isn't that nice?
We'll fix that. But yeah, I'll take accountability for it. But what you're seeing here is you're seeing a weaponization. We'll continue to fix it. They're going to continue to come up with numbers that don't have it there, and it's sensationalized. I don't expect anything different from this administration. Look, who's ever...
You should expect something different, because this administration is going to hold your ass accountable, dude. So just buckle up. Let's see. This was 24 hours ago. Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison are now being directly linked to the Somali fraud network. Not loosely connected, not indirectly involved, tied straight to the operation.
Victory party at the Ilhan Omar. Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar, alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud, held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz, House Oversight Investigation role in his role as governor. Or Keith Ellison, the Attorney General. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire fraud, theft ring. Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison.
Fraud. Theft ring. Speaking of theft ring, let's find out what's happening in Colorado, where it just continues. This was 4 days ago. HUD found housing benefits paid to 221 dead people in Colorado, thousands more flagged as ineligible. The fraud hit agencies statewide and could force repayments of federal funds. HUD finds dead people cashing housing benefits in Colorado. California representative confirming, let's go to California, what we all knew, the fraud in California is way worse than Minnesota. We could be looking at tens of billions of dollars in fraud. Holy cow. Gut it out.
Walz is, if you thought that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had a real bad problem with welfare fraud in his state, Gavin Newsom saying, hold my beer, buddy. Newsom's welfare fraud is exponentially worse than Tim Walz's, but the liberal media nationally, they're not paying attention. They're not holding him accountable. There's almost no discussion of it. Newsom allowed $30 billion in fraudulent welfare payments to be issued by the unemployment agency, and now small businesses in California have to pay off all of that debt through higher payroll taxes. No coverage of that scandal. And it is much worse than what happened with Tim Walz in Minnesota. Walz is accused of allowing $250 million of food stamp fraud to occur to Somali organizations. And Newsom is sitting here with multi-billion dollars worth of food stamp fraud. His food stamp fraud rate is 13.4%. That's 3 out of every 20 benefits managed by Newsom's administration for food stamps, completely fraudulent. And when it comes to funding left-wing organizations like the Somali community in Minnesota, California is funding all sorts of left-wing NGOs. And a lot of those NGOs are using taxpayer money for politics.
Oh, yeah. That's super, super illegal. Gavin Newsom caught in a massive federal money laundering scam. Newsom increased ambulance costs 300% and requested reimbursements from the federal government, but it was fake. He'd then pay a different company a fraction of the cost and pocket the rest, stealing billions. Holy cow. This is from Wall Street Apes just 12 hours ago. They write, one of the largest and most convoluted schemes in modern history has been discovered during a review of California's medical finance records. Investigators found under Gavin Newsom's leadership, the Golden State has essentially been funneling taxpayer money from all across America to prop up California's own finances. This is a guy who thinks he's going to be running for president. All this stuff is going to come bubbling to the surface. Let's check out the video clip attached here.
Schemes in modern. A massive investigation has uncovered that California may have committed major fraud against the U.S. government by exploiting this complicated loophole that's allowed them to steal billions in federal taxpayer funds. One of the largest and most convoluted schemes in modern history has been discovered during a review of California's medical financial records. Investigators found that under Gavin Newsom's leadership, the Golden State has essentially been funneling taxpayer money from all across America to prop up California's own finances. The ingenious plan started in 2022, and it revolves around the complex concept of intergovernmental transfers, which in simple terms is when a local hospital or county makes a transfer to the state Medicaid agency for payments of medical services such as ambulance rides. After the transfers are made, the state can then request a matching amount of money from the federal government, but Newsom's California abused this system by raising the price of a a simple ambulance ride by nearly 300%. And then once the local hospitals made the transfer to the states and the state received the matching funds from the federal government, they then instead paid a private ambulance service which cost only a fraction of the original price, pocketing the difference. But the thing is, this is all legal and the government must find a way to close this loophole. A massive investigation has uncovered that California may have committed...
Guys, we don't even know the scale of the fraud, but we're going to find out real soon. So here's the bottom line. The same names keep surfacing, the same state, the same fraud pipelines. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't a glitch in the system. Minnesota didn't just fail at oversight. It enabled a machine that looted taxpayers at industrial scale. And now that machine is exposed. Federal investigators are moving. Whistleblower tip lines are lighting up, and the American people are no longer waiting for the media to care. They're demanding answers themselves. So the story matters because it proves what millions of Americans have suspected for years. The system is not broken, it's rigged. Billions stolen, officials who closed down investigations instead of pursuing them, a congresswoman facing accusations that would end anyone else's career, and a governor whose only defense is to attack the people exposing the truth. This is what happens when accountability finally arrives. The establishment didn't see it coming because they never thought the people would push back this hard. But the chants are getting louder, the investigations are multiplying, and the same patterns are showing up in Minnesota. They're surfacing in California, Colorado. So the question isn't whether more fraud will be found, it's just how deep it actually goes. So here's my question for you. Should Ilhan Omar be deported if the fraud allegations are proven true? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to stand with us, check out the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description. All right, let's keep going. Any more super chats to acknowledge here? Let's check in. We got Gregorio. Gregorio Heiss for Congress. Hello, Gary. Nice to see you live. God bless you. Thank you, Gregorio. Good luck on your run. Rob Stoops dropping $5. And don't forget, the government's going to want that money back, so they're going to hit us up for it again, even if they recover that money. Ooh, that's not a good thing to think about. And then we got Anita. Omar needs to go bye-bye, and she can take her friends with her. Everyone smash that like button. Yes, if you haven't smashed the like button, do it now. If you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe. Do all the things, right? Do all the things. Well, speaking of doing all the things, we're going to get to the things that happened at Mar-a-Lago just a few hours ago. The footage is all starting to surface, and it is unreal. President Trump is on fire as usual. Let's continue this real quick here. We don't want to have Discord notifications popping up, do we? No, we don't. Okay. Right now, in the dark waters off Venezuela's coast, a high seas pursuit is underway. The U.S. Coast Guard is chasing an oil tanker that refused to stop. This is the third vessel targeted in less than 2 weeks under a blockade ordered directly by President Trump. Russia just weighed in. Oil markets are reacting. The tanker has direct ties to Iran. And just hours ago at Mar-a-Lago, President Trump announced a major expansion of American naval power. New warships are coming. The Golden Fleet will be 100 times more powerful than anything ever built. What happens next could reshape how America projects strength on the global stage. And here's why this matters to everybody. For years, sanctioned regimes have smuggled oil through gray zones, evading consequences and funding hostile operations. Venezuela and Iran have run these networks while the world issues sternly worded letters. Well, that era has just ended under President Trump. He's ordered a complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuela. Not a diplomatic request, a physical barrier enforced by the United States Coast Guard. The message to shippers, insurers, and foreign governments, it's unmistakable. Test this line, and you will be boarded, seized, or stopped. Markets are already responding. Oil prices ticked up as traders realize this is not theater, it's a choke point. When Russia felt compelled to proudly declares support for Maduro, that said everything. The pressure is real. The blockade is biting. And with today's announcement of new warships and a revitalized American fleet, this is only the beginning. Now, the breaking news like this reminds us why being prepared isn't optional anymore. When global tensions rise and supply chains get squeezed, the families who planned ahead sleep better at night. That's why I'm telling you about the Buy One, Gift Two Christmas special from My Patriot Supply. It's this month only. When you buy one emergency food kit, you get 2 more absolutely free. Grab a 4-week supply for yourself, and they'll include 2 one-week kits, perfect as gifts for loved ones who need that nudge towards preparedness. In a world where blockades and conflicts and shortages can happen overnight, having emergency food stored away just makes sense. So head to preparewithgary.com right now. This holiday offer will not last. That's preparewithgary.com. Now, here's where it gets even more serious. The tanker being pursued is called the Bella 1, and U.S. officials have linked it directly to Iran. Now, this is not just about Venezuela anymore. This is about a network of sanctioned states coordinating to evade American enforcement. 3 tankers in 12 days. The second vessel was seized on December 20th with tactical boarding teams caught on video. The Bella 1 refused the boarding order. I think we have the video here of that boarding as it's happening. Let's see. This is a screenshot. This is another shot here. I thought we had it. This is... maybe this is it? No. Let's see. Here's the footage here. There's a quad box shot here for you. So the Bella 1 here refused a boarding order, and then the pursuit went active. Today at Mar-a-Lago, President Trump stood with Defense Secretary Hegseth, Navy Secretary Phelan, and Secretary of State Rubio to announce a historic naval expansion. The new warships are coming. American shipbuilding is being revitalized, and the era of American power is returning with force. Here's some of that footage from that amazing Coast Guard action. Right over the deck. Here, this is a longer shot. This is unclassified video. It's possibly drone footage or another helicopter angle monitoring the situation. Could be directly from the ship. I'm not sure how this really how this all functions. But you can see the action. More shots. Dude. This is just crazy what's happening right now. It feels like I'm watching a movie, but this is straight up real life. Let's go to Mar-a-Lago in a second. This is this ties it up to Iran. The Iranian-linked oil tanker identified as Bella 1 is evading United States forces by refusing to submit to boarding in international waters.
On X about all this. Officials say this Iranian-linked tanker is a dark fleet vessel, part of Venezuela's illegal sanctions evasion. They say it's flying a false flag, and we could get an update over at Mar-a-Lago this evening from President Trump and his secretaries of War and Navy. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posting on X about all this, saying in part, quote, "The United States will continue to pursue the illicit movement of sanctioned oil that is used to fund narco-terrorism in the region. We will find you and we will stop you. Thank you to our brave men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard and Department of War." But not all Republicans are okay with seizing these vessels.
I consider it a provocation and a prelude to war, and I hope we don't go to war with Venezuela. It isn't the job of the American soldier to be the policeman of the world.
Also internationally, President Trump announcing last night he's appointing Louisiana. Officials say this Iranian-linked tanker is a dark fleet vessel, part of Venezuela's illegal
they're
sanctions
flying
evasion.
False flags to evade. This is not going to end well, friends. This is not going to end well. When I was talking with Todd this morning about the situation, I said it's really only a matter of time before Maduro decides to declare war. And with Russia stepping up and saying that they're going to be supporting Maduro, Venezuela is going to think they got some big balls now, right? Oh, well, Russia's backing us, so we will declare war. They can easily see these things, these blockades, as an act of war. So we are heading into something that is unprecedented. Let me see if I can find that post regarding Putin before I go to Mar-a-Lago. U.S. oil blockade of Venezuela pushes Cuba into economic collapse, like they weren't already. Let's see. We got all these clips here. U.S. forces. There was. Let's see. Where's the message about? Let's see. I'm looking for the Putin reference. It could be in that Russia Today post. I'm gonna get it for you. Normally, I'm a little bit more organized. Okay. White House clarifies. So the Russia Today post says third tanker off Venezuela boarded. White House clarifies seized tanker carrying sanctioned oil. Anyway, let's go to Mar-a-Lago. I will see if I can find that reference. Here's Trump talking about laser beams and hypersonics.
Been starting to. The battleships are going to be armed just in terms of guns and missiles at the highest level. They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic weapons, state-of-the-art electric rail guns, and even the high-powered lasers that you've been starting to read about. We have lasers where you aim the laser, wipes it out. We're going to have, they'll be the most sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world will be on the battleships that we're building. She launched cruise missiles.
Standoff with the United States 3 minutes ago. Russia has reaffirmed its full support and solidarity with Venezuela. This is huge. This ruins the theory that Putin may have agreed with Trump not to interfere in Venezuela in exchange for Trump not interfering with Ukraine, or Putin is just making sure Trump remembers what he agreed to. Yeah, it's starting to get deep here. Let's go to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth talking about this new class and new investments.
Law, merit-based. Well, Mr. President, you're exactly right. There are no fishing poles, no fishermen, and no fishing boats. Just drug dealers and narco-terrorists. And with every strike, we're saving American lives. No other president was willing to do real deterrence. That's exactly what's happening. It's an honor to be here, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, Secretary Rubio, to talk about what peace through strength really looks like. You can talk about it, or you can invest in it, and you can build it. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing. At the Department of War, we're restoring the warrior ethos. In fact, the President mentioned the NDAA. We put into law merit-based. We put into law getting rid of DEI and political correctness. That's now part of how our military operates. And you've seen it in record recruiting in the spirit of the Department of War. We're rebuilding the military. President Trump did it once. He's doing again with historic investments today in shipbuilding. And we're reestablishing deterrence. Whether that's at the border, whether it's through Golden Dome, what happened with Midnight Hammer and what Iran found out, those drug boats, and of course the Houthis opening up the shipping lanes. American strength is back on the world stage. And the announcement of the Golden Fleet, anchored by new battleships, the biggest and most lethal ever, accomplishes all three of those things and marks a generational commitment to American sea power. Across the entire department, we are developing new operational concepts, deploying cutting-edge technologies, and making major investments, including in our Navy. This is happening in all domains, including space, as the President has talked about before anyone else. So it's the highest of domains and the lowest of domains under sea, and especially today in sea power. that always has to be decisive, has been in the history of America, and will continue to be under the leadership of President Trump. We will make sure that anything that flows from our country and with our allies flows freely and uncontested. New and better ships will provide that deterrent today and for generations to come. This new class, these new investments will be the types of things that for decades, for centuries, the American people will look back and thank President Trump for having the vision and the willingness to invest right now in capabilities we need today, tomorrow, and long into the future. So, Mr. President, thank you for this investment. Well, Mr. President, you're...
Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Here's Secretary Rubio.
I don't have much to add. This is a phenomenal presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. This is American industrial power returning. This is the ability, once again, to rebuild, to have industry in the United States. This is generational in the change, not just in terms of applying American war power, increasing our ability to protect the seas. The U.S. Navy is the single biggest source of peace in the world of all of our forces because it gives us a global footprint. But it rebuilds American industrial capacity. The ability to make things again in our country has been critical to what the President's agenda has been all about, and this is a tangible reminder of it. And I know the country's grateful for it, and generations of Americans will be grateful for it. So thank you.
Think about all the presidents that came before President Trump. All they did was cripple the United States. They crippled it. They crippled our military, downsized, got rid of bases. I mean, it's been going on for years and years and years. But this is all part of a big, grand, global plan to weaken the United States. And that's one of the reasons why they hate Trump so much, is because he is bringing back American dominance. And if America falls, then the globalists win. They'll have complete control over the entire planet, and then there's no Mayflower to get on. Do you understand what I'm saying? So President Trump clearly is making every single move and every single area of the United States, moving at breakneck speed to restore America as a global and respected power, that the globalists will bow before us because we don't bow to the freaking globalists. Okay. Let's see here. The seized oil. Let's talk about this.
Going to do with...
Speaking of Venezuela, oil. What are we going to do with the oil that we have?
Going to do with what?
The oil that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping it.
Where's it? Are we going to sell it or put it in the strategic?
Maybe we'll sell it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also.
Speaking of Venezuela.
Keeping the ships also. Trump's going to refill the strategic reserves that Joe Biden emptied for political expediency during an election. President Trump talking about the amount of legal drugs that are coming in.
Of illegal drugs. You just referenced the lower amount of illegal drugs that are coming by sea, and you just said that you're going to start that same program on land soon. Are you just referring to Venezuela, or are you referring to other countries in Latin America?
Anywhere drugs are pouring in, anywhere, not just Venezuela. No.
You just
Venezuela is the first on the list. That's wild. Let's go to the initial announcement by the president.
Construction of two brand new. As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, the bigger, but they will have 100 times they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time. And it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others. But if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit, but and they're bigger. They're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality. as Commander-in-Chief.
That's the word. That's the word of the day, folks. Lethality. Speaking of lethality, here's what he's talking about.
Ships, these cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. They will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction. Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship in the history of the world ever built. And again, it's 100 times more powerful than the previous Iowa class, it's called. Those are the big ones that you'd see on a show. Victory at Sea. I don't know if anyone's seen Victory at Sea, but it was a classic. They'll help maintain American military supremacy, revive the American shipbuilding industry, and inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world. We want respect. We're going to have it. We already have it. We're more respected now than we ever were. A year and a half ago, they laughed at us. Now they respect us again at levels that they've never respected us. We envision that these two ships, we're talking about 10, but we're going to start with 2, and we're going to quickly morph into 10. And ultimately, we think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 of
Holy
these.
cow.
But we're starting with the first 2 immediately, and we're going to then be very quickly involved with, I think, we're going to do another 8, and then we're going to ultimately and pretty quickly have a total of about 20 to 25. We'll make that determination.
How much you want to bet he's going to name them all after his family? USS Trump, USS Melania, USS Don Jr., USS Eric Trump, USS Ivanka, USS Barron. Oh, yeah, you know that's coming, folks. Now, here's what the establishment doesn't want you to focus on. You see, this is only the opening phase. When a president deploys maritime enforcement this aggressively and announces a major naval buildup on the same day, it's really not about a tanker or a country. It's about resetting the global order of who controls the seas and who dares to defy American authority. The shipping corridors that operated in the shadows are now under the spotlight. And with new warships on the way, the spotlight is about to get a lot brighter. So the story matters because it proves that American power means nothing if it isn't backed by action. And now it's being backed by steel. For years, hostile regimes laughed at sanctions because no one enforced them. Oil flowed, money moved, networks expanded, and Washington did nothing but complain. That's just changed. President Trump didn't ask for permission. He didn't wait for international consensus. He didn't wait for the poll numbers to come out. He ordered a blockade. The Coast Guard is executing it, and today he announced a historic naval expansion to back it up. 3 tankers were targeted, 2 seized, 1 pursued, new warships coming, refilling the strategic oil reserves with the seized oil. And Russia is nervous enough to make statements. The era of consequence-free defiance is ending. You see, this is what strength looks like. Not speeches, but action. Not warnings, but warships. So here's my question. Let's talk about it in the comments. Is America finally projecting the naval power it should? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop, linked below. All right. Some super chats came through here. From Rob Stoops, dropping $5. If it's not our job to be if it's not our job to be policemen of the world, then why have we been doing it for the last 50 years? Good question. Jackie dropping $5. No question, no comment, just some support, and we thank you, Jackie, for that sincerely. All right, folks. Remember, I'm going to go through these comments after the show, and I am going to review what you guys said. And I want to hear how you guys found the show, how you found the Next News Network. Was it a friend, a family member? Was it just through the sheer luck of the YouTube algorithm? How long have you been watching? Drop those comments in the chat room because I'm really curious. Really am. because I don't have a chance to really read all these things, but I'm going to go through these and I'm going to find it and I'm going to learn. Because I don't see the comments when I'm running the show, so I'm going to do it afterwards. All right, let's move on to what's happening with the Trump who saved Christmas. As a matter of fact, I wanted to, let me see if, there's something, Mr. Reagan sent me something over the weekend that he had made, and it was awesome. Mr. Reagan USA. Yes, it is. Here it is. He posted it on his YouTube. I saw that Juanita Broderick had posted it also. If you don't know who Mr. Reagan is, you need to check him out. But I'm going to play some of his latest video. Let's see. Juanita. Oh, whoops. There she is. Okay. Where is she? I saw she made a post, and it's so beautiful for this time of year. I could save it maybe for tomorrow before we go for our Christmas break. But why? I mean, why wait, right? Because I think it's good. Let's see, when did she post it, man? She posts a lot of stuff. Come on, Juanita. Todd, see if you can find it. Well, is this it? Here it is. This is so good. The night Trump saved Christmas. Okay. Of course, they're already community noting this thing. Let me just put this in our folder for the Trump economy, which is roaring back just in time for Christmas. All right, perfect. Man, Mr. Reagan has nailed animation and his work with parody videos. I'm envious of his skills. I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing. Speaking of AI, we do have our AI system, so we can continue producing content throughout the weekend and long weekend. But don't worry, it's not going to be the Wild West. I'm actually going to be at the controls of the system. You may have seen some tests. You may have seen some Discord notifications. If you're if you are a member, you will have access to the Discord, so you can communicate with members, and you'll be able to see when these videos drop. I've been working on some automation systems so that we can keep all of our members in Discord totally synchronized when we do drop videos, just in case they miss them, if YouTube notifications don't go out. Very important. That would be in our general chat, I believe, is where they land. So anyway, I don't want you to worry. And I've been working very hard on this whole new system, and I think you're going to like it. It's quite amazing, actually. So without further ado, let me just refresh this page and bring up our Mr. Reagan post. Oh, thank you, Todd. Thank you for that. All right, we can remove the top one here. Okay, I got it. Don't remove it. Okay. I've been watching Gary since he was on Alex Jones. Wow. I love Alex, man. That guy's been through hell. Okay, let's go. Something is happening across America right now the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about. Just days before Christmas, as families load up their cars and hit the highways, the pressure that's been crushing household budgets for years is finally lifting. Gas stations from coast to coast are posting numbers we haven't seen in 4 years. And it's not just fuel. Paychecks are growing. Jobs are coming back. And for the first time in a long time, Americans are heading into the holidays with something that they almost forgot existed. Breathing room. And Mr. Reagan just released an amazing video tribute to President Trump we're going to show you. But here's what's at stake. For years, American families were told to accept less. Higher prices at the pump, shrinking paychecks, inflation eating away at every dollar. Christmas became a time of stress instead of celebration, but policy has consequences, and right now families are seeing the results of an energy-first agenda. In 40 states, gas is under $3 a gallon. In 28 states, it's below $2.75. In 13 states, it's under $2.50. In certain stations in at least 12 states, you can find gas below $2. That is not spin. That's the receipt at the pump. Wages are rising faster than inflation for the first time in years, and real incomes are climbing. Over 150,000 North Carolina residents alone have moved off food stamps. You see, this is what happens when government gets out of the way and lets America produce. Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect. If there's one thing that we've learned, uncertainty isn't temporary, it's the world we live in now. Waiting for normal is not a plan, it is a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments, they have helped Americans protect themselves by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Nobody knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing is for sure. Real wealth is not digital, it's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So this holiday season, remember, the best gift you can give is not under the tree, it's peace of mind. Visit nextnewsgold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance. And here's where it gets better. The administration just confirmed that 2026 will bring the biggest tax refund season of all time. A major plan for home buyers is coming in the new year. Tipped workers, bartenders, servers, the people who work the hardest for the least recognition are saving over $5,000 a year under no tax on tips. One bartender in North Carolina said it's finally allowing her to invest in her home. See, that's the American dream coming back to life, folks. Meanwhile, imports from China are at their lowest level since China entered the World Trade Organization. The tariffs didn't collapse the economy like they predicted. Growth is strong, trade deficits are shrinking, and the fear narratives have evaporated. Holiday travelers, right here, you can see the post. Caroline Levitt posted this 6 hours ago. Holiday travelers to save over $500 million at gas prices, as gas prices dropped to $2.79 a gallon. Trump energy prices driving gas prices to new 4-year holiday low. Just as holiday travel begins, giving Americans immediate financial relief. Whoopi Goldberg suggesting that a 1776 bonus to the military was a bribe by Trump to get their support. Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Back me and what
this bonuses to troops. He's giving them basically $1,700.
Let's see if they get. What he's doing is he's thinking, if I make sure that the soldiers have what they need, they'll back me in what I want.
Hi, military wife here. Let's just gloss over the part where Donald Trump is supposedly giving anybody illegal orders because a woman with no military experience who once voiced a cartoon hyena says so. To suggest that our servicemen and women would betray their country for any amount of money, much less $2,000, is disgusting and shows exactly what Whoopi Goldberg thinks of the United States military. The average enlisted service member makes $53,000 a year to go to difficult places and do hard jobs and often be separated from their families. And it is pathetic that a woman who makes $8 million a year sitting on her rear end spewing trash, who gets mad when food stamps get cut off for junk food and candy, would moan about these people getting a modest Christmas bonus and then suggest that they would be traitors who would betray their country. And why on God's green earth ABC News still lets this woman sit there opening her gob is absolutely beyond me.
This bonuses to troops. He's giving them basically $1,700.
Let's see if they get.
Yeah. You guys want to see the Mr. Reagan video? I'll show it to you. I promise I will. Cincinnati, the price of gallon is $1 cheaper than this same time last year. Can you believe it? The whole $1?
Shoot up for everything.
The price for a gallon of gas is $1 cheaper than this time last year.
It's kind of hard to believe, especially around the holidays when we typically see prices shoot up for everything. Fox 19 Now's Bella Livingston joining us live with the new low prices at the pump. Bella, good morning.
Good morning, Jordan and Dan. Yeah, this
is perfect timing. It is perfect timing for everyone that is leaving and heading out to wherever their holiday destination is. And actually, the last time that the national gas price average was below $3 was 4 years ago. And as you said, this time last year, the prices were up about $1. So AAA says that right now the national average is about $2.86. This is the first time in the gas price average was below $3 since May of 2021, but the tri-state is sitting at even lower prices. In the Cincinnati area, a gallon of regular unleaded gas is right around $2.54. In northern Kentucky, the average is a bit higher at $2.60, and prices are highest, if you can even call it that, in southeastern Indiana with an average of $2.80.
The price for a gallon.
The gift of President Trump just keeps giving. Speaking of such, I'm going to present to you now Mr. Reagan's latest wonderful masterpiece, The Night Trump Saved Christmas.
Go in hand.
Well done.
'Twas the night before Christmas, the snow deep and white. The reindeer were set for their long winter flight. The elves were all wrapping the last gifts with care. The scent of hot cocoa hung sweet in the air. Old Santa sat slumped in his chair by the fire, his nose red and runny, his fever grew higher. He sneezed and he sniffled, he coughed and he wheezed.
Oh dear,
Santa groaned.
I'm as sick as can be.
Outside of the workshop arose such a clatter, a chopper arriving. What could be the matter? Away to his window old Santa did dash, threw open the shutters and drew up the sash. There on the snow, touching down with a thump, Marine One arrived with President Trump. Donald stepped down onto the snow with a confident stride and a soft orange glow.
Hey, Santa!
Trump called.
You look tired, so tired. I'll be Santa this year. It's a job I admire. I've handled much bigger, believe me, it's true. The economy, China, I'll handle this too!
Old Santa just blinked, then he started to grin.
Hello, my old friend. Come in, come in. I've done this for centuries, year after year. A night off sounds nice. It's so cozy in here.
Trump strutted inside to the workshop with flair. The elves all stopped working to ogle and stare.
These elves,
Donald said,
they're incredible folks. The best in the business. They're really no joke. We're going to have Christmas like never before. The biggest, the best. That's what we're here for.
He loaded the sleigh with his own special touch.
More gifts. We need more. This isn't enough.
The bag overflowed, stacked right to the top, all made by the elves in Santa's workshop. Then onto the sleigh he climbed up with great pride, Melania's cookies tucked right by his side. He cracked the gold whip, the reindeer took flight.
Now Dasher, now Prancer. Let's do this thing right. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen, we'll make history tonight, and poems will be written.
The reindeer responded with thunder and spark, and off through the sky they blazed into the dark. For the daughters, a doll with a pretty pink dress. For the sons, a race car, shiny red, the best.
Because boys will be boys and girls will be girls. It's just common sense. It's the real world.
To Democrats' houses he came without spite, even though they'd complain and they'd fuss and they'd fight.
He's a fascist!
He left them face masks and 95 so that they'd feel safe when driving inside. Their cars all alone with windows rolled tight. They're still double masking at such a sad sight. Greta Thunberg bobbleheads too, a little voice box that screams, "How dare you?" In one quiet house, Trump knelt by the tree. When a little boy woke, he'd got up to pee.
Santa?
He asked and slowly walked near. But Santa looked different, more orange, less beard.
Not Santa,
Trump said with a wink and a grin.
but just as good looking and way, way more thin.
The boy rubbed his eyes.
Are you President Trump?
Trump just smiled and gave the kid a fist bump, then held out a flag, red, white, and blue.
Merry Christmas, young man. This is for you.
Before heading north, Trump cinched up his coat, one last present to give to the cartel boats. No missiles tonight, it was Christmas, you see. Instead, he dropped something more natural. The reindeer let loose with a thunderous sound, and magical droppings swiftly rained down. Reindeer that fly have a special-made pool. It sparkles, explodes, and it's quite deadly, too. Boom went the speedboats. Blam went the drugs. Out into the sea flew the criminal thugs. But Trump wasn't done. He swung around back.
I'll finish them off with a quick double tap.
Another pass over, more presents from Deere, and the cartel's whole shipment had just disappeared.
That's how we do Christmas.
Trump shouted with glee.
Merry Christmas, you scumbags. This gift was from me.
Trump finally turned north as dawn filled the sky. The reindeer were tired, and so was the guy. Old Santa was waiting with cocoa in hand.
Well done, Donald Trump. That was all just so grand.
It was nothing. Believe me, I do this all day. I love delivering toys in your sleigh. The people are happy, the presents delivered, the drug boats are sunk, and justice delivered.
He handed the reins back to Jolly St. Nick.
Call me again whenever you're sick.
You saved Christmas this year. God bless you, my friend.
Trump nodded and turned. The trip had to end. Marine One lifted off into the sky, and Santa waved back with a tear in his eye. Trump leaned out the window that cold Christmas day, real loud so Santa could hear him say,
To the soldiers abroad and the farmers at home, to the builders, the truckers, wherever they roam, to the cops and the nurses, the teachers, the vets, to the kids in pajamas and the family pets, and even the haters, the losers, the fakes, and even Pelosi, that treacherous snake.
Santa heard him exclaim as he flew out of sight.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
But then Santa heard one more thing at the end.
Let's make America great again.
'Twas the night before Christmas, the snow deep and white. The reindeer were set for their long winter flight. The elves were all wrapping the last gifts with care. The scent of hot cocoa hung sweet in the air. Old Santa sat slumped in his chair by the fire, his nose red and runny, his fever grew higher. He sneezed and he sniffled, he coughed and he wheezed.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Santa
you gotta
groaned.
love Mr. Reagan, man. That guy knows what he's doing. Let's see. Here's President Trump talking about what happened since he's taken office.
President, we're here tonight to celebrate 11 incredible months. It's been the most successful first year of any president in the history of our country. It's true. It has been, isn't that a big statement? But it's a statement that you read all over the place. I mean, who could have done better? I don't think anybody could have done better than us, not me, than us. We're in this together. Since my inauguration, we've created more than 53,000 North Carolina jobs, including 8,000 North Carolina construction jobs. More than 150,000 North Carolina residents have been lifted off of food stamps. They're very happy about that. And after your horrible hurricane, which produced more water damage than any hurricane in history, the Democrats let you down. They really did. Remember, they wouldn't do anything. Remember? They wouldn't go to your community. They wouldn't do anything. You had to wait till January 20th when I took office that we really knocked the hell out of it. Remember? As soon as I took office, I got in on January 20th, and first thing I did was made North Carolina phone calls, and we did a hell of a job. Did a hell of a job. You'd still be sitting in the mud if I didn't get elected. You would be. People were sitting in the mud. But I helped rebuild your state, and I didn't get any help from the Democrats. We're here tonight.
Of course. Why would the Democrats want to help? They just want to pilfer. The biggest tax refund season of all time is coming.
Season of all. Well, first of all.
But, I mean, taxation is theft to begin with, so, yeah.
There's so much good news in the new year because you're going to see the biggest tax refund season of all time. The big, beautiful bill was passed in July. You know, the IRS didn't have time to change all the forms. And so now everybody's going to get huge tax refunds if they were overtime workers, if they're seniors, if they had tip income. All those things are going to be refunded, those taxes this year when they file for their taxes. And then the other thing is that we've got lots of great new ideas that we're going to put before the American people this year to make their lives better. The president mentioned in his economic speech from over here at the White House that we've got everybody in the whole cabinet working on trying to get housing to be more affordable. We're going to have a big plan to announce sometime soon in the new new year that's going to be really good news for the American people who feel like it's just not affordable to buy a home anymore. Don't forget that under Joe Biden, the average mortgage payment for the typical middle-class family who are buying for the first time a home went up by $14,000 a year. $14,000 a year because of inflation and higher interest rates. And we've got a plan that's going to make that go almost completely in reverse. Already, we've reduced that monthly mortgage payment by $3,000. Well, first of all,
let's go, man. And then the last real roadblock here is this is a list of all the states here. I'll let that scroll for you here. But the real roadblock is Jerome Powell, and he's out early next year, and President Trump's already eyeing a couple people to replace him. So you know President Trump's going to pick someone who's going to be in line with his agenda. Jerome Powell is just a lapdog for the establishment, been choking this country out. I mean, look at the games he played during the Biden administration during the election. Oh, come on. President Trump talking about wages rising faster than inflation for the first time.
First time in many years that under Trump, wages are rising much faster than inflation for the first time in many years. Think of that. Wages are rising faster than inflation. That's what it's all about, right? And we're delivering lower prices and bigger paychecks. And the wage chart that you see up there is incredible. That NBC didn't put up and the networks didn't put up. There are more people working today than at any time in American history. And very importantly, while tens of thousands of new jobs under Biden were government jobs, there were government jobs. I could do that right now. You saw today we had 4.5% inflation. That's because I'm letting go of tremendous numbers of government workers. We're replacing them. In fact, we've reduced the federal workforce by 270,000 jobs. That's not to be mean. That's to get them off. And they are getting jobs in the private sector, and we're helping them to get jobs. But if you have all government jobs, we're going to be, a country that we don't want to mention names because we don't want to insult, but we're going to be a country that cannot be great. 100% just came out, 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. The only way to make our country great.
Amen. Let's go.
But under Trump,
let's friggin' go, man. Let's friggin' go. Ugh. North Carolina bartender he's talking about now.
Bartender and server. But we're joined tonight by Heather Whitley, a bartender and server in Nashville, North Carolina, who will save over $5,000 from no tips. Think of that. From no tax.
No tax on tips. It makes me, just kind of hopeful. Remember, even a bartender can become a congresswoman. Sorry. I don't know if that landed or not, but hey.
Heather, where are you, Heather? Are you here, Heather? Where are you? Where are you? You want to come up? You want to come up? Come on up. She's going to save over $5,000, no tax on tips, toward a down payment on her first home. So, Heather, congratulations. Look how amazing she is, right? Come on up. I don't know how you're going to get up that stair. Are you okay? Look at her. She has no problem. Somebody else would not be able to make it. Thank you, darling. Nice to see you. Want to say something? Go ahead.
Well, it's been a tremendous help. It's now allowed me to invest in my first home. And that is the American dream for all of us. I don't have much to say, sir. Thank you so much.
You said it perfectly. Thank you, darling. But we're joined tonight.
You see how emotional she was? That's real. Did anyone ever go up and thank Joe Biden for doing anything? Except not eating all the frickin' ice cream? Yeah. No. Here's more on the incomes.
Where Well, already what we've seen is after 4 years under the Biden administration, where real incomes went down by $3,000 for the typical family, they've gone up by $1,300 this year. Now, it doesn't mean that Biden he really dug a big hole. Doesn't mean that we've fixed all the problems that Joe Biden created, but we're making great progress. And one of the things that I think I really liked most about the president's speeches this week, but I'm biased, I'm an economist, is he put up a lot of charts to show people why they should truly believe that we're going to make lots of progress on affordability. So, for example, he put up a chart that showed all the electric power generation plants that we've approved that'll be in place over the next year or two. And he had a big map of the United States and showed I think it was 1,600 new power plants, which is that's how you get electricity prices down, right? So you don't just talk about it, but you deliver. And in the end, what's going to happen is people are going to see lower prices. They're going to see higher real incomes, just like they did last time. And that's when these numbers are going to turn around. But right now, there's still a lot of recovery from the harm that Biden caused that we have to see in the survey. Well, already
we're still digging
what we've seen is
we're still digging out of it. President Trump's digging out of it fast, though. That's the remarkable thing. Here he is talking about the success of the tariffs. Remember that, this is going to destroy the country. Oh, my goodness, fear, fear, fear. Quite the opposite.
Coffee, for example. I think that most of the tariffs that we've passed this year have proven their mettle. We've got still high growth, which people said we couldn't if we had tariffs. We have reduction in the deficit, reduction in the trade deficit. Imports from China are the lowest they've been since China entered the WTO. So there's a lot of success to crow about in the tariff space. But there are also things that we're hearing when we talk to people like trading partners and companies that trade a lot in the U.S. There are also things that maybe could be adjusted. You saw that we decided to exempt coffee, for example, because we don't make a lot of coffee in the U.S.
And coffee prices are up.
And I think that if there's something that's not made in the U.S. at all, that there's an appetite, and Jameson Greer is leading the effort to study these matters, that there's an appetite to exempt things if they're really not meant to be made in the U.S. because of, climate or things like that. I think that
there you go. You see, here's the bottom line. You see, Christmas is not just about decorations and traditions. It's about peace of mind. It's about gathering without fear, giving without panic, and traveling without punishment. For the first time in years, policy is making the holidays easier instead of harder. Gas is down, paychecks are up, families are breathing again. While the critics rage and try to rewrite reality, Americans are seeing the truth right at the pump, in their wallets, and around the Christmas tree. So the story matters because it proves that elections have consequences you can actually measure. Not in polling data or talking points, but in the price you pay to fill your tank and drive your family to Christmas dinner. 4 years ago, Americans were getting crushed. Gas was spiking, wages stagnant. Every trip to the store felt like a gut punch. Now the numbers have flipped. 40 states under $3, wages beating inflation, jobs created in the private sector, not government make work programs. This is the Trump effect in action, and it's landing right when families need it most. The media won't celebrate it. The establishment won't acknowledge it. But you feel it every time you swipe your card at the pump. So here's my question. Is this the best Christmas economy you felt in years? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments, and grab some great gear at the Next News merch shop, linked in the description. All right, looks like we have some remind people to, okay, so it was Rob says, Gary, you got to remind people to check the state gas tax. Oh, yeah, I mean, in Illinois, the gas tax is insane. Our prices in Illinois are they just added another one. So while even as President Trump's bringing all these prices down, J.B. Pritzker is just jacking up the taxes on the gas, and it artificially makes it look like, well, why is gas so expensive? Why is it so expensive? Right? And then people blame Trump. I mean, think about that. It's all a strategy. That's how they manipulate you. You don't even realize it. Thanks for that, Rob. And then Chris, Merry Christmas. Thank you, President Trump, for your vision. Thank you, God, for President Trump. Amen. Every day, I thank God for Trump. We got this from Vaishran. I'd pay to see claymation of Trump Saves Christmas. Well, I think Mr. Reagan's video, I think, did quite a good job. And this, we have, what is this? Oh, Al dropping 5 pounds sterling. Haven't seen that in a while. Merry Christmas, one and all. Soon we'll see the snowdrops fall. I wish you all such hearty cheer that it lasts throughout the coming year. Oh, thank you for that. That was cute. 5 pounds sterling. And then we have Lavender Rose dropping 5. I'm just grateful we're spending Christmas with Donald Trump as our president. So am I. Where are we at with Super Chats right now? It's $76.72. Are we going to have a Merry Christmas? Only you guys will determine if this is a Merry Christmas on the Raw Feed Next News Network. But we got to get to this other topic here, which has been simmering. A lot of people talking about it. And didn't quite see this coming, actually. Did not see this coming. All right. One of the biggest stars on the planet just did something the entertainment industry said was impossible. She walked into a room full of MAGA hats, thousands of young conservatives cheering, and instead of running, she grabbed the microphone and dropped a bomb on the entire establishment narrative. A global icon, a black woman, the queen of rap, standing on that stage saying what millions of Americans believe but are told they're not allowed to say. And when they asked her about the backlash from her own industry, her answer sent shockwaves straight through Hollywood. And here's what's at stake. For years, the entertainment industry has operated like a prison. Step out of line and you're finished. Question the narrative and your career is over. Support the wrong candidate and you'll never work again. That's the threat that they've used to keep every actor, musician, and celebrity in check. And it worked. Until now. Nicki Minaj just proved that the spell is breaking. She walked into America Fest knowing full well that parts of her own community would try to destroy her for it. She did it anyway. And when asked about the industry backlash, she said 3 words that shattered the illusion: I didn't notice. That is the moment fear dies. When someone with that much influence, that much reach, and that much to lose stands up and says the threats don't work anymore. It gives permission to everyone else watching. This is not just about celebrity. It's about the entire enforcement system that's cracking in real time. And some breaking news like this proves why independent media matters more than ever. When a global superstar defies the establishment and the mainstream press ignores it, we're here to cover it. But we can only do this with your help. This time of year, this Christmas, we reflect on how grateful we are for this community. None of this would be possible without your encouragement, your views, your comments, your prayers, your likes, your shares, at all. And if you'd like to help us keep fighting and telling the truth, we deeply appreciate your support at nnn.is/give. You'll see it linked right there. And if you can't donate, you can still help big. Just share the video with your friend or post it on your Facebook groups. Those shares make a massive difference, and we are thankful for you. We see you, and we hope you have a beautiful and blessed Christmas. But see, let's go back to Minaj, because she didn't stop at defying the industry. Nicki Minaj stood on that stage and told Americans they cannot elect leaders who attack Christians. She said, we cannot have people in power who have a problem with us worshiping God. And the crowd erupted. And then she revealed she started going to church in New York, and it changed everything. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. She praised Gen Z conservatives, telling them their passion gives her hope for the future. And she publicly expressed admiration for President Trump, saying he's giving people hope that the bad guys can be beaten. She said the administration is full of people with heart and soul who make her proud. Right before Christmas, the culture war just shifted huge. Erica Kirk was interviewing her on stage, and here's the question.
I know that you are getting a lot of backlash from your own industry. What is your reaction to that?
I didn't notice.
Amen. I feel the same way. When people are like, what do you think about them? I'm like, I don't think about them.
Bingo. We don't even think about them.
We don't have time to. We're too busy building, right?
Yeah, we're the cool kids.
Okay.
The other people, they're the ones who are still just disgruntled, but really they're just disgruntled with themselves. They are angry with themselves, you guys. So you can't wake up and think about somebody who is determined to just stay mad. I literally tell them, stay mad.
Amen.
Stay mad. Because we're going to stay joyful and peaceful and iconic and smart. And we're going to stay thinkers. In a world that doesn't want us to think, we will think. By ourselves, on our own. We will continue to think.
I know that you are getting a lot of backlash from your own industry.
I didn't notice. Nicki Minaj walking into AmFest and dropping a nuke on the Democrat plantation narrative. Global superstar black woman queen of rap showed up to a sea of MAGA hats. Nicki Minaj appears at Turning Point USA AmFest. Tells Americans about who to elect.
Felt good. Truly feel that there are people out there who felt good about chastising Christians right here in our country. And it's kind of really, really sick. We can't let people like that be in power, you guys. That's the truth. I can sugarcoat it and laugh and kiki, but the truth is, I am here today to tell you guys that. We absolutely cannot let people who have a problem with us worshiping God, we cannot have them in power. We cannot have them in power. All you have to do is look at what is happening in other places in the world. Look at what is being done to Christians all around the world. And ask yourself why people in this country that were in positions of power felt so comfortable to try to take our voices from us. They were that afraid. They are that intimidated. They are that insecure. They are that small inside that hearing us and seeing us worship God irritated them. Our spirit irritates them because when we speak, they get shown up. When the truth walks in the room, the lies hide. They don't come out willingly. You gotta pry it out of them. They hide because they don't want you or anyone to know who they really are behind closed doors, because even they know how evil it is to try to deprive people of worshiping God.
Amen. We love you. Nicki Minaj.
Thank you, guys. Truly feel.
I never expected. I did not expect that. That was not on my bingo card. But I am so happy that she's speaking like that. And how many people are going to be influenced by her speaking about God and faith. Amen. And now, another moment. She figures out about the Democrat Party.
Think about somebody.
We're too busy building, right?
Yeah, we're the cool kids.
Okay.
The other people, they're the ones who are still just disgruntled, but really they're just disgruntled with themselves.
We just played that. Sorry. Here's what she says. She started going to church.
I started 10, 11, 12. I started going to church in New York. And it changed everything. It changed my life for the better because I was going every week. I was hearing the word of God be preached. And then I was going home and I was applying it to my life. Even as a little girl, I learned how to pray very early. I always had this faith that made people think, you know, the kind of faith that you think a person is crazy, like, oh, please, like, you know. But I had that faith instinctively once I started hearing about God and, you know, just getting more into the Bible. I got baptized when I was about, yep, amen. I got baptized when I was about 13. 10, 11, 12, I started going to church.
Let's keep going here. Here she's talking about the president and his administration. This is so beautiful.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact. He's from Queens, New York, like me. So, but what it's shown me personally is sometimes, you know, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never going to come back from it. But you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly. Having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny. Until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on, you'll never understand what it feels like. That person is a human being. They have a family who has to read those lies. And that's not, and it's just not fair. But this administration is full of people with heart and soul. And they make me proud of them. Our vice president, he makes me, well, I love both of them, but they're both powerful men, smart, strong, all of that, but both of them have a very uncanny ability to be someone that you relate to. I can relate to them. When I hear them speak, I know that they're one of us. Like, I know that they're not. Don't you guys agree? They haven't lost touch of the world. You know, they're still connected to the world and what's happening in the world, with the younger people and older people, with the richer people and not so rich people. They have the ability to still connect and be real and make us feel proud to be American.
Lee Greenwood song just popped in my head. I wonder why. This is beautiful to see, man. She's going to church. She's talking. Remember this moment when Megan Thee Stallion went out and started twerking in front of all those people at that Biden rally? And the only reason people were there is because they want to see her. And then they all left. They didn't care about Biden and his bunch of Democrats. It was just there to fill seats, man. Yeah. So one gets on stage and twerks like a freak. The other one sits there respectfully, talks about Jesus. Here's an old Charlie Kirk post. It says, this aged like fine wine. Nicki Minaj has always been a warrior against corruption and persecution, regardless of the backlash. Charlie Kirk wrote, Democrats' treatment of Nicki Minaj should be all the proof you need that they don't care about black people, especially those they can't control. They just use them every 4 years for their votes, but people are waking up. Oh, she had a few words for Gavin Newsom as well.
You had some fun words for Governor Newsom. I have to read these tweets because they're amazing and they are so funny. Okay, first one. We'll do this one. Your own voice. I think it'd be really great. Okay.
Oh, Gabby Poo, it only gets worse from here for you, buddy. Get on the nearest jet ski and let that beautiful hair blow in the wind. It'll make you happier.
Gavin Newsom, man. Game over for that guy. So here's the contrast they don't want you to see. Megan Thee Stallion twerked on stage at a Kamala Harris rally, and the left cheered her on. Nicki Minaj speaks out boldly for persecuted Christians worldwide at America Fest, and the left attacks her. One celebrated degeneracy for political points. The other defended faith and freedom at personal cost. That's the difference. And that's why this moment matters. The establishment wanted silence for the holidays. Instead, they got a reckoning. So the story matters because it proves the walls are cracking. For years, Hollywood and the music industry have enforced a brutal code of silence. Say the wrong thing and you're canceled. Support the wrong person and your career's over. Fear kept everybody in line, but fear only works if you accept it. Nicki Minaj just showed millions of Americans what happens when someone with everything to lose decides the truth is worth more than approval. She praised President Trump. She defended Christians. She encouraged young conservatives. And she told the industry machine she didn't even notice their threats. That's not a celebrity moment. That's a cultural turning point. When icons start breaking ranks, the system loses power. So here's my question. You think more celebrities will follow Nicki's lead and speak out? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments and show your support for truth tellers at the Next News merch shop, linked in the description. Oh, looks like we got a couple more super chats to acknowledge. Salty Nationalist is here. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good bite. MAGA one and all. Thank you. $20. Rob Stoops is back. Look what happened to all the actors with TDS. The ones we've all loved for the years, their careers are over. Yeah, look at them, right? Where are we now? Super chats. Might be over the top. $101.72. Merry Christmas, guys. We hit our goal. But, that doesn't stop us. If you want to give more, we are open because it's the spirit of giving, right? We're in the season of giving. Okay. We got to talk about what's happening here. The Epstein panic is reaching a fever pitch at the moment. So this is a developing story, and the panic is visible in real time. As the Epstein files continue to surface, the same people who ignored this scandal for years are suddenly screaming about a cover-up. But here's what they don't want you to notice. The accusations aren't holding up. The photos being circulated are getting exposed as fakes, and the Department of Justice just went on the record to blow the entire narrative apart. Something has them terrified, and it's not what they're telling you. The real question is, what are they trying to hide before the public connects all the dots? So here's what's really at stake, because for years, the Epstein files, they sat untouched. No outrage, no demands for transparency, no primetime investigations. The same political class that lectures America about justice had nothing to say. Then suddenly, right as documents begin surfacing and connections to intelligence agencies emerge, the same people who stayed silent are now in full attack mode. The new narrative is absurd on its face. We're supposed to believe the real scandal isn't that a protected predator operated for decades with elite cover, but that the Trump DOJ is running a cover-up. That's the story they're pushing, and it's falling apart in public. Fake photos are circulating and getting debunked. Links are being deleted. Claims are being walked back. This is not journalism. It's called damage control. And when you see this level of coordinated panic, you have to ask, what are they really afraid of coming out? So as the story develops, it's a reminder that being prepared for anything isn't paranoia, it's wisdom. That's why I want to tell you about the Buy One, Gift Two Christmas special at My Patriot Supply. This month, when you buy one emergency food kit, you get 2 more absolutely free. Grab a 4-week supply for yourself, and they'll include a 2 1-week kits, perfect gifts for family who need a little nudge towards preparedness. In a world where chaos can erupt overnight, and stories like this remind us that nothing is stable, having food stored away just makes sense. Head to preparewithgary.com right now because this holiday deal will not last. That's preparewithgary.com because peace of mind is the best gift that you can give. Now, here's where it gets even more troubling. Analysts are pointing to documents suggesting Epstein negotiated contracts tied to Southern Air Transport. That's the CIA-linked airline caught running drugs and guns during Iran-Contra. That's not gossip. That's a potential direct line between Epstein and U.S. intelligence infrastructure. Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche went on the record stating that nothing in the files has been redacted for embarrassment, political sensitivity, or reputational harm. He called the idea that a photo was pulled to protect Trump laughable, and he made the point everyone needs to hear. These files existed for years and not a single Democrat said a word. Now suddenly Schumer cares? That's the hoax. Now, let's find out about this. They're defending a news anchor on NBC, defending former President Bill Clinton's repeated appearance in the Epstein files. Okay, sure. Simply being in the Epstein files doesn't imply any criminal wrongdoing. That's true. Same applies to President Trump. However, the difference is President Trump's photos are all in public settings. All public settings. Events, parties, wide open in the public, where Epstein had invitations to go to places where Trump was and took pictures. The difference between the photos that we've seen with Bill Clinton and Epstein is like the one you see here. You don't see pictures of Bill Clinton, Donald Trump swimming in a pool with Ghislaine Maxwell. You don't see pictures of Donald Trump with a woman sitting on his lap. No, you don't. So it's all about the context of the image. So let's check in. This is Florida's Voice with Drew Steele weighing in on this.
Multiple.
Let me ask you about what we have seen released in the Epstein files so far.
Okay, so you're watching Florida's Voice, and they're playing Senator Tim Kaine's on the screen there, and NBC Meet the Press is interviewing him.
Former President Bill Clinton is featured prominently.
Prominently, like multiple. I'm talking like a ton with redacted photos of women next to him and all kinds of weirdness going on. I just added all that myself.
In the first batch, as I was just discussing. Now, to be very clear, NBC News does not know the full context behind these images, and simply being in the Epstein files doesn't imply any criminal wrongdoing.
Really? Oh, God. That's an interesting statement to make. Okay, I just want to get this straight. Do you ever say that when Donald Trump's in these photos?
Where was that comment when the Trump picture was there?
You can't make it up.
Let me ask you about what we
Exactly. President Trump just confirmed he threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. He has to keep presenting this. This is 2 hours ago at Mar-a-Lago. He had to say this again.
I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. And as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. This is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here. He'd come here. We actually threw him out. I actually threw him out.
Threw him out. Former President Bill Clinton is demanding full transparency from the Trump DOJ and the Epstein files. Clinton's spokesman says the DOJ's selective release suggests someone is being protected. We need no such protection, he writes. He calls on Trump to direct AG Pam Bondi to immediately release all remaining materials referencing Clinton, including grand jury records and photos. Yeah, see, that's how you control the narrative. You put out a statement like that, and you go, okay, we got to get ahead of this, and we're going to point the finger at Pam Bondi, we'll call it a cover-up, and we're going to demand transparency. Right? I expect nothing less from Slick Willie. Salty Goat writes, so I'm clear on this. The problem is Trump's DOJ is involved in a massive cover-up, not that one of the Democrat heroes is a corrupt POS. That's the story these geniuses are going with? Stephen Hawking even visited Epstein's private island. Look at that. Stephen Hawking hanging out with the chicks. Oh, they're just hanging out at the island. How do they get in there? I guess they have a special helicopter or something for him. 19 hours ago. This is insane. Mike Benz goes through the Jeffrey Epstein documents. Holy cow. This is where he's talking about the Southern Air Transport.
Deal with Southern Air Transport. Jeffrey Epstein negotiated the fucking contract to move the CIA's proprietary airliner, Southern Air Transport, which was busted running drugs and guns during Iran-Contra. He personally was the authorized signatory on the deal with Southern Air Transport to move it to a military base in Columbus, Ohio to service the limited. Hey, any of you guys got any bright ideas about how you would go about in 1994 convincing the Central Intelligence Agency to move its proprietary CIA airline used for covert operations based in Miami to fucking up and move its entire operation to fucking Columbus, Ohio, just to service your personal company instead of the CIA? What do you think, he cold called the CIA? You think he just schmoozed the CIA? Or is it because he was handling out on Khashoggi's money during Iran-Contra that purchased the guns that Southern Air Transport a decade earlier was moving? Jeffrey Epstein.
Mike Benz is on fire, dude. Always is. I would add to that maybe he had blackmail on some folks too. Okay. So here are some of the photos that are surfacing that are totally fake and doctored. People spreading them around. This is another photograph of Trump on Epstein's plane with what appears to be an underage female. The DOJ released and has since been deleted by the DOJ. In fact, the entire link can't be found. It's because it's fake. It's totally fake. All the pictures the left is putting out of Trump are fake. These people are stupid and desperate, and it's a very bad combination. Trump's hand on this little girl's leg. Another fake picture. Not a real photo. It has been debunked. Representative James Comer, 11 hours ago, calling out Hakeem Jeffries, saying he's resorted to name calling after the investigation into billions of taxpayers lost fraud in Minnesota. Wrong topic, sorry. Someone made an image file viewer because the government's website sucks. Oh, there you go. The hosted files are for free. You can go to epstein-files-browser.versal.app. Write that down, and you can go and see all of the images in the Epstein files. Nice. Going back to NBC, asking Todd Blanche.
The Epstein Files Transparency Act prohibits redactions, quote, on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Has anything been redacted on that basis?
Absolutely, positively not. And that's another trend that is just simply false. There were a number of photographs that were pulled down after being released on Friday. That's because a judge in New York has ordered us to listen to any victim or victim rights group if they have any concerns about the material that we're putting up. And so when we hear concerns, whether it's photographs of women that we do not believe are victims or we didn't have information to show that they were victims, but we learned that there are concerns, of course we're taking that photograph down and we're going to address it. If we need to redact faces or other information, we will, and then we'll put it back up. So we are in every way, shape, and form complying with the statute, which, by the way, is what President Trump has been asking us to do since before he was elected. There is nothing that he has to hide in the Epstein files. There never was. And even though there's repeated attempts by Democrats to paint him as being part of the Epstein saga, it's failing over and over again. And so you should not be surprised that the material that we released on Friday or the material that we're going to release over the next couple of weeks is exactly what the statute requires us to release, which is everything that we have from this case, with the exception of redacting personal information from victims and other statutes, privileges and things like that. Otherwise, everything's getting produced.
Everything's getting produced. Oh, yeah, the DOJ website. And that guy built his own. CIA connections coming out now, even deeper. Here is more panic from the media on Meet the Press.
Yesterday, you were
with Todd
referencing
Blanche.
the 15 files released Friday. They disappeared from DOJ's website yesterday, including this photo of what looks like a desk with a drawer open containing photos of Donald Trump. Just to be very clear, to put a fine point on it, why were these files taken down? You're containing photos.
Okay, look at the picture. Look at the picture close. You can see it. Looks like a photo album. And one of the pictures is clearly Donald Trump. Okay. And where's the context behind it? I mean, NBC News took the time to go ahead and go through the pictures and find this tiny, tiny, tiny little image of Donald Trump's head on a desk in a photo album. You know what that is? That's a brag book. That's a brag book that Jeffrey Epstein would leave on his desk. So when people are sitting around waiting for him or whatever they were doing, they could thumb through his brag book and see all the famous people he'd hobnobbed with. And in fact, that picture looks like a picture we've seen before. Clearly, it does. Saw a photograph probably at Mar-a-Lago is my guess. So NBC News finding a needle in a haystack and then, oh, you deleted the picture because it had Trump in it. Let's listen more.
Yesterday, including this photo of what looks like a desk with a drawer open containing photos of Donald Trump. Just to be very clear, to put a fine point on it, why were these files taken down? You're saying it was at the direction of a judge?
Well, you can see a true motivation, but the reality is anybody, any victim, any victim's lawyers, any victim rights group can reach out to us and say, hey, Department of Justice, there's a document, there's a photo, there's something within the Epstein files that identifies me, and we will then, of course, pull that off and investigate.
You were referencing.
Yeah. So there's your answer. Okay, let's talk about, let's go, he's getting asked about Massey and other congressmen.
With the law, Congressman Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, the authors of the Epstein bill, say the partial release of files failed to comply with the law. They say they are considering looking into the possibility of impeachment proceedings, contempt, even criminal referrals for obstruction of justice for DOJ officials. Do you take these threats seriously?
Not even a little bit. Bring it on. We are doing everything we're supposed to be doing to comply with this statute. And Congressman Massey and these other congressmen that are coming out speaking negatively about Director Patel and the Attorney General have no idea what they're talking about. They know the work that we're going through. They know what we're doing to protect victims. I mean, just think about what we're doing. You're talking about 1 million or so pages of documents. Virtually all of them contain victim information. So, listen, the idea that Attorney General Bondi would ever let a single piece of paper go out of this department that contains victim information is something they know we won't do. And the fact that they're threatening to impeach her for protecting victims is a reflection of where their head's at. It's not a reflection of this department. We are complying with the statute. We will continue to comply with the statute. And if by complying with the statute, we don't produce everything on Friday, we produce things next week and the week after, that's still compliance with the statute. There is well-settled law, as they should know, that in a case like this, where we're required to produce within a certain amount of time, but also comply with other laws like redacting information, that very much trumps, redacting information very much trumps some deadline in the statute.
Congressman Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna.
So here's the bottom line on this developing story. The panic isn't about Trump. It's about exposure. It's about decades of protection finally hitting a wall. Independent researchers are building public tools to browse the Epstein files because the government's own website was unusable. Citizens are doing the work institutions refuse to do. And every fake photo, every deleted link, every sudden outrage from people who stayed silent for years tells you exactly what's happening. They're not afraid of lies being told. They're afraid of the truth being connected. So the story matters because it exposes how the system really works. You see, for years, the Epstein scandal sat in the shadows, protected, ignored, untouchable. The same people now screaming about cover-ups had every opportunity to demand transparency, and they chose silence. And now the documents are surfacing and connections are forming. The panic's undeniable. Fake photos are being pushed and debunked and links mysteriously deleted. Sudden outrage from leaders who never cared before. It's not about justice. This is about extraction. They're trying to muddy the waters before the public sees the full picture, but it's too late. The dots are connecting faster than they can be erased, and no amount of manufactured hysteria will put the genie back in the bottle. So here's my question. Do you believe, after reviewing all the Epstein files, that they will expose all the deep state connections? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments, and support independent journalism at the next news merch shop, linked in the description. All right, what do we got here? Look what happened. Rob, come back with a $10. Why aren't Secret Service agents being protected? Why aren't Secret Service agents that protected President Bill Clinton not being subpoenaed on what they saw and what they knew? Why are they are there to protect the office of the president as well as the president? Good question. I don't know how to answer that. But, I mean, I interviewed a Secret Service agent who was on Hillary Clinton's detail years ago. And his story was remarkable, the things he saw and he witnessed. But I don't know. I can't answer this. Thank you, though, for your support. Ruby Hoove. Looks like gifted a membership to Gen X MAGA. What's up? Welcome to the family, Gen X MAGA. And that puts us at $111 for the night. So that's the show, and let's bring it all together. Tonight, we watched American power return in a way we haven't seen in decades. President Trump stood at Mar-a-Lago with Defense Secretary Hegseth, Navy Secretary Phelan, Secretary of State Rubio to announce a historic naval expansion. New warships, a revitalized fleet. Trump calling it the Golden Fleet. American shipbuilding is roaring back to life. The world got the message loud and clear. And the timing was deliberate. Off the coast of Venezuela, the U.S. Coast Guard pursued a third oil tanker in 12 days under President Trump's complete blockade. The Bella 1 refused to stop, and our forces closed in. Russia declared support for Maduro because the pressure's real. Sanctions are not paperwork anymore. They are steel, radar, boarding teams, and now new warships are on the way. Then we watched the fraud dam burst in Minnesota. Americans chanting to deport Ilhan Omar. 6 federal investigations circling Tim Walz. Elon Musk telling 230 million people the governor's hiding vast fraud. Billions stolen through benefit schemes while state officials closed down the very offices meant to stop it. The same names, the same pipelines, the same state accountability is no longer optional. And we saw the Trump effect deliver a Christmas miracle families can actually feel, and we even saw Mr. Reagan dropping a new Christmas miracle on his YouTube channel. Yes, gas prices are at a 4-year low, just 4-year December low. 40 states under $3 a gallon, wages rising faster than inflation, tipped workers saving thousands, the American dream coming back to life in time for the holidays. Then we witnessed a cultural earthquake when Nicki Minaj walked into America Fest praising Trump, defending Christians, and told her own industry she didn't even notice the backlash. A global icon breaking ranks. That's right, the spell is shattering in real time. Because fear only works when you accept it, and she refused. And then we tracked the Epstein panic as it unfolds. Fake photos exposed, links deleted, Democrats who ignore these files for years suddenly screaming cover up. Deputy AG Todd Blanche called it laughable. The dots are connecting faster than they can be erased. Now think back to where we started tonight. December 22nd, 1989. Romania. Nicolae Ceausescu, I don't know how to say his name, fled his own capital as the people rose up and the regime collapsed in hours. For decades, that dictator believed he was untouchable. The elites protected each other. The media ran cover. Dissent was crushed. And then one day, the fear evaporated. 36 years later, you're watching the same pattern unfold in America. From Minnesota courthouses to Caribbean waters, from Hollywood stages to Mar-a-Lago, where American naval power was just put on full display. The corrupt believed they were safe, and now they're finding out otherwise. The walls are cracking. The truth is moving faster than the spin. And just like, how do you say his name? Cusio? Yeah. Discovered on this very day in 1989, power built on lies doesn't survive the light. So before we go, a massive thank you to everyone who dropped super chats and Rumble rants tonight. We see every single one, and we are grateful. Keep telling your friends about the show. Share the link. And if you want to gear up, hit the Next News merch shop. You'll find it in the description. I'm Gary Franchi. Thank you for joining us on the Raw Feed. We'll see you all on the next show.